Did you know that not everyone has the same blood type? And some people can receive blood from everyone, while other people can only receive blood from a certain type of donor. On blood typing as well as some disorders of the immune system. So, red blood cells carry certain antigen markers on their cell membranes, and there are two different types of antigen markers, A and B. A person with type A blood has red blood cells with an A antigen on their cell membrane. A person with type B blood has red blood cells with a B antigen on their cell membrane. A person with type AB blood has both A and B antigen markers, and a person with type O blood has none of the antigen markers on their red blood cells. People also carry antibodies against the opposite blood antigen in their plasma. So a person with type A blood has B antibodies in their blood that would bind and clump together any type B blood that they came in contact with, because again, that type B blood would have B antigens on it. These are also known as anti-B antibodies. So they're against B antibodies. Type B blood has antibodies in their blood that bind and clump together type A blood, because again, type A has A antigens on it. This is also known as anti-A antibodies, so antibodies against blood type A. Type AB blood has no antibodies in their plasma because they themselves contain both the antigens for A and B on their red blood cells. And people with type O have antibodies, anti-A and anti-B in their plasma because their blood has no antigens in it whatsoever. This means that a person with type A blood cannot accept blood from someone with type B and vice versa. Someone with type B cannot accept blood from someone with type A. A person with type O, which is also known as a universal donor, can donate blood to a person of all blood types, but they can only receive blood from people who have type O. This is because blood type O doesn't have any antibodies, doesn't have any antigens on it. So if you are type A blood with anti-B antibodies or type B blood with anti-A antibodies, you can accept type O because type O has no antigens on the red blood cells. A person with type AB blood can get blood from all donors of all blood types. They're known as universal recipients, but can only donate blood to others with blood type AB. This is because their plasma has no antibodies against type A or B, and their blood has, because their red blood cells have the antigens for both A and B on them. So when we look at this summary chart, we can see type A has antigen A on their red blood cells, and in their plasma, they have anti-B antibodies. So they cannot receive blood type B or AB as a donor, but can have type A or O. If we look at blood type B, they have antigen B on their red blood cells. So they have anti-A antibodies. Then they cannot have A or AB blood as a blood donation, but they can have B or O. People who have blood type AB have antigen A and B on their red blood cells, but neither antibody in their plasma. They're a universal recipient and can take the blood from any donor. Type O has neither A or B antigens on the red blood cell, but contains both the antibodies for A and B in their plasma. So they can only receive type O blood. However, they are a universal donor, as every other blood type can receive type O. Another component to blood typing is known as the Rh factor or Rhesus factor. So this is another antigen that may appear on red blood cells as well. So people with the antigen are termed Rh positive, and without the antigen are termed Rh negative. But people who are Rh negative do not usually have antibodies against Rh antigens. But sometimes during pregnancy, an Rh mother may give birth to an Rh positive child if her spouse or the father of the child is Rh positive. If the blood from the child mixes with the mother's blood during birth, that mother will begin to produce Rh antibodies, and this would be the first time her body would produce antibodies. If the mother was to become pregnant again with an Rh positive child, the mother's immune system would attack the developing baby's red blood cells, which prevents oxygen from getting to the baby's tissue and can lead to brain damage and or being born with a lack of oxygen. So this happens if we have an Rh positive man who fathers a child with an Rh negative woman. Once the woman's blood comes in contact with the fetal blood, she starts to produce antibodies against the Rh antigen. And this can happen if she bleeds early in pregnancy, or if she their blood mixes also during delivery. So if the woman becomes pregnant with a second Rh positive fetus, her antibodies cross the placenta and attack the fetus's red blood cells. To prevent this, women will get a shot in pregnancy known as the Rorgam shot, which will prevent the antibodies from developing as rapidly. So some immune system disorders are the autoimmune disorder. So this is where the body's own T cells mistakenly attack body cells. And there's lots of examples of autoimmune disorders. Crohn's disease is one, rheumatoid arthritis is one. And this is where our immune system attacks healthy cells and causes inflammation, pain, and other problems. Allergies are an immune system disorder because they're an exaggerated response by the immune system to a harmless material such as pollen, animal dander, food, or drugs. Poisons work by attaching themselves to the receptor sites on body cells, which typically bind to hormones or nutrients. So then when those poisons attach to the receptor sites, they're taken into the cell, and the cell is now going to be destroyed by the poison. Antibodies, also known as antivenoms, will attach to the poison and prevent the poisons from attaching to the cell receptors. Vaccines work by introducing a weakened or dead microbe into the body. Since that pathogen is dead, weakened, or just contains a component of the virus, it cannot invade the body cells, but the immune response can develop B cells, antibodies, and helper T cells specific to that disease without becoming infected. So there are a lot of routine vaccines that people get as children for measles, mumps, and rubella, for whooping cough, and for tetanus. Antibiotics are chemical agents that are obtained from other living organisms, typically molds or funguses. And these antibiotics produce chemicals that are toxic to bacteria. So penicillin works by destroying the cell walls of the bacteria. Other antibiotics work by slowing down reproduction, allowing our body cells to catch up and kill that bacteria. So that's the end of our lesson on blood typing and immune disorders. See you guys next time. Bye.